believe we are in 2024 because I cannot.
Yeah, definitely flew by quickly.
I mean, we blinked and the entire year was gone. And then my December 2023 was pretty much just like non-existent because I was essentially sick the whole time. And I went from upper respiratory infection to bronchitis to diverticulitis. I don't know anybody listening who's ever had diverticulitis. Do not recommend. 0 out of 5 stars. My Yelp review is not good. It was bad.
I was fine.
Yay. It's literally the story of our life. Like I have all of my issues and then Brandon's over here just like chilling, beacon of health, which I'm glad, obviously, because if we were both out and down for the count, I mean, we would not have survived December. So, but we're here. I'm feeling good. You know, thank you for modern science and medication and antibiotics. I feel great today. How do you feel?
Good, as always. Not much to say on that.
For those of you listening and not seeing this, Brandon's wearing a beanie, and I chopped all of my hair off just a few days ago. So we have some exciting announcements for 2024.
You always have something to say about what I wear on my head.
Because, you know, your little beanies are just so precious. You're so cute.
Just gonna ignore you on that one.
I mean, we're in the house.
Okay.
All right. So there's that. We have some
But your hair does look good. I like it.
Okay, thank you. Are you done interrupting?
Yeah.
Okay. We have some really exciting news for 2024. We asked, you responded, we listened, and so we're going to be changing it up. And I'm really excited because we introduced a lot of amazing guests last year. We loved those conversations. I think the responses were fantastic. The conversations were so much fun, and we have more guest interviews to bring you this year because we do think they're valuable, and it's great to hear from other people and their journeys and their experiences. But we also recognize that we are a financial literacy podcast, and our goal is to help you build wealth so that you can live the life that you've always dreamed of and that you can build your bag, right? It's all about managing your money, understanding, building your financial literacy. And so we kind of want to get back to the core of what we set out to do. So we are going to shorten our podcast episodes. We're going to try to keep them, 35 minutes or less so that you can walk the dog, pop into an episode, fold some laundry, pop into an episode. You don't have to dedicate, an hour plus to really get to the meat of the message. We are also launching on YouTube. This is going to be huge because most of you are currently listening. If you follow us on social media, you see our clips. So you get little snippets here and there of what it looks like to talk to our guests and how we interact and to see our facial expressions and all of that. But now you're going to be able to see our full episodes on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun figuring all that out because we do everything ourselves because we currently don't make any money off the podcast.
Yeah, but we're changing that in
We're
2024.
We're working on it.
We're going to manifest. It's going to change. But it's good to know how to do these things on our own, right? I think it's always better to know how to do things. And then...
And by we, you mean me.
Correct. And then eventually we will outsource. But in the event of something happening, we will know... By we, I mean Brandon. Brandon will know how to step in and fix things that need to be fixed. So the other big thing is we are going to release 3 episodes a month, the first 3 Wednesdays of the month, aside from January, because, everybody's getting back into their routine the first week of January. So our first episode that you're able to listen to, ta-da, is going to be Wednesday, January 10th. So starting in February, the first 3 Wednesdays, we are adding 1 episode a month. So instead of 2, we're going to be bringing you 3. We're really excited about that. And
we are hoping that the response is good too, as far as being able to hear more information on various topics so that, like I said, purpose of this is a financial literacy podcast. So we want to try to give you as much information as possible.
Yeah, we're done. We're not gatekeepers, but in finance, the financial literacy and education has been gate kept for so long, and we're not about that. So we want to give you short, sweet, actionable information where you can go and instantly improve your situation, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and do better, learn more. We didn't actually have this on our list, but I did want to add, we are going to be bringing you some extra special opportunities to sit down with Brandon probably once a month, to actually learn how to invest, right? Everybody that we follow on social media is in the finance space, the fintech tech space, podcasters, etc. And everybody talks about investing and high yield savings and doing this and doing that. And it's great to talk about it, but you also need to learn how to actually do it. So definitely follow us on social media if you're not already. Hit that follow button, hit that notification button so that you can be a part of the free 99 courses that Brandon is going to host to help you open up your brokerage account, learn how to invest your first dollar if you haven't done that. If you maybe are only contributing to a 401k through your employer and you don't have a separate, Roth IRA or investment account. So stay tuned. We are looking to give back. We are looking to educate and to really help you navigate this seemingly confusing world of finance, but we want to make it approachable and easy for you to understand.
Yeah, and these are going to be webinars that I'm going to be hosting, and I'm literally going to walk you through step by step. So, for example, the first one's going to be opening up a brokerage account. How do you go about doing that? I'm going to literally walk you through it step by step, and you'll be able to see it so that you're able to do it on your own and know that you're doing it correctly and feel confident in that.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have recorded episodes that are going to be coming out in the early part of this year. So we have Nasima McElroy coming from Financially Intentional. That episode's going to be amazing. If you don't follow Nasima, she is fantastic. You're missing out. We've got Haley and Justin from Price of Avocado Toast. It's so funny because we are so similar in a lot of ways. They're a little bit younger than us. They live on the West Coast. They're financial coaches that help people pay off debt, but we're very much aligned in our mission of wanting to normalize the conversation around money and money problems, debt, how to increase your credit score, how to invest, how to build wealth, how to live the life of your dreams. So that's going to be a really fun conversation. We've got a conversation with some friends, Lauren and James, who are in the middle of their adoption journey. They're going to talk to us about their adoption process, how they decided to, what kind of child to adopt, which agency to use, how much of the agency help are they going to need? So that's going to be a really important conversation as well. I know I'm missing a bunch of people that we've recorded with, but it's going to be amazing. We've got some awesome guests, so you don't want to miss out on that. But we're also going to be really targeted in what topics we're bringing to you. So as always, if there's a topic that you want us to cover, if you have a question, specific, broad, it doesn't matter, shoot us a DM, send us an email, leave us a voicemail, and let us know what topics you're interested in, because this is for you. We're doing this to help you get to where you need to be in your financial journey. If you have been thinking about working with Brandon or reaching out, he will have a free consult and conversation with you. So really the only thing that you would potentially lose is 30 minutes of time. And it's not ever going to be a waste because Brandon is amazing. Obviously, I'm married to him, so I'm a little bit biased. But I mean, having the conversation to find out if you guys would be a good fit, how he can help you, if he can help you. And listen, one thing that you will always know about us, and that is so important to note about Brandon, is that we will never pitch something or sell you something or advertise something or give you an affiliate link or even just like a referral link to anything that we don't use, we don't like, we don't value. We are always going to keep it 100. And Brandon has turned away plenty of people in his journey as an entrepreneur and a financial advisor for people who just weren't ready yet, or people who needed to take maybe one or two extra steps before actually paying money to him. to help reach their financial goals. So some people, maybe you have 6 months or a year's worth of work to do and then you can come back. But Brandon is never going to take your money if you are not ready to be a client. Keep in mind, obviously, I think I get on him about this all the time because he wants everybody to be a full client, right? A full planning client, meaning you dig into all of the things that make your portfolio whole. However, we recognize that not everybody is at that place in life. And so don't forget that he has a ton of different a la carte offerings where you can work with him on, paying off your student loans, increasing, your savings, paying down debt. I know I'm missing a whole bunch of things. Financial planning to talk about financial planning with your parents, right? A lot of what we do in our elder millennial planning has to involve what's going on with our parents' finances. How do we talk to them about that? We have a whole episode coming out about that, which is going to be really powerful. But if there's something that you need and you're not seeing it on the website, just reach out to Brandon, have a conversation. It's not going to cost you anything, and it could literally change your life and help you get to your goals more quickly because you don't know what you don't know. And Brandon knows a lot of things. So talk to him, reach out.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, I also, what I really want to stress is that, with it being the new year to year, most people have some form of, getting their finances in order as part of their New Year's resolution. So go ahead and take that step because, wanting to do it is great. But if you don't actually take that first step and start to take action, nothing's ever going to happen. And I try to make the first step very easy for you. So like Jess was saying, as far as scheduling a 30-minute video chat with me, and this is not diving into the details of, all the specifics of your finances. That's not what this call is about. Broad overview of some of the things that you're looking to have help with, some of the things that you think you're doing well, some of the places you want to improve, and then most importantly, determining whether or not myself and you are a good fit from a personality standpoint to work together. Because that is the biggest thing in all honesty is, are we a good fit to work together? A lot of us financial advisors, we know a lot of the same things. We have a lot of the same access to resources, but there is some nuance in regards to how each advisor does something from a personality standpoint and whether or not you vibe with that person. So I always want to make sure that I'm vibing with the client, obviously, and they're also vibing with me. Reason being is that when you're more comfortable with your financial advisor, you're much more open and you also are much more prone to do what you need to do and be an active part of the process. And then also on my end, I don't want to deal with clients that I don't like. That's just plain and simple. Like, I don't want to see someone like an email come across or my phone ring. And I'm like, God, I do not want to talk to this person. So I've eliminated all my clients I enjoy working with, and I'm going to keep it that way. It's a two-way street. Do you like me? Do I like you? Same. So go ahead and, schedule the call. Worst case scenario, 9 times out of 10, even if we end up not working together, I guarantee you I could teach you one or two things.
Yeah. I think it's important to call out that you are a fee-based advisor and not a percentage of assets under management. I know there's a lot of things out there, people, that are have very strong opinions about fee-based advisors versus
I don't even want to go down that route, to be honest with you, because you can be, I don't want to go down that route only because I think you can do fine. I think you can do both structures and be a advisor of integrity and do the right thing. I think people who have a very strong feeling about, a percentage of their assets under management had a bad advisor. It wasn't even the percentage amount. It was just you had a bad advisor also. Because if your advisor was amazing and doing all these amazing things, you probably wouldn't have cared what he charged you.
Well, but I think it's good to call out that you are fee-based.
Correct.
And not percentage-based. So what are your rates for a single person for a full planning client?
So for a full planning client, rates start at $260 a month for an individual. Now, upon finding more about your situation, obviously, if you have a much more complicated situation, it could be more. But for most people, it's going to be $260 as an individual. And if you are a couple or a family, rates start at $375 per month.
All right. So very attainable. If that number sounds, or those numbers sound a little bit too steep for your financial situation right now, there are other things that Brandon can help you with, kind of ad hoc. That a la carte menu is online. We'll, of course, link it in the show notes as always, but it's a free 30-minute consult to see if you guys are the right fit. As Brandon said, if there's a vibe, you guys like each other, and you think that Brandon is going to be able to help you reach your goals, have the conversation, at least find out. Speaking of resolutions and wanting to be better with our money, because I think year after year, we all have our goals, right? Whether it's increasing our savings rate, getting that emergency fund started, you know, rates going up, opening up that high yield savings account finally. And we literally say it 20 times a day. Let's talk about some top quote unquote quote resolutions that people could focus on to help them in their financial journey this year.
Yeah, we are going to keep it focused to, around 5 top resolutions that people seem to have year after year. Go through those, and I'm also going to give you action steps on how to start to achieve those resolutions as well.
All right. What is resolution number 1?
Resolution number 1 has to do with credit card debt, as far as consolidating credit card debt and paying down credit card debt. Unfortunately, in America, a lot of us have credit card debt, and it's not decreasing, it's just increasing, especially with the price of everything going up. So most people have the resolution that they want to tackle that credit card debt. And most of the people that I sit down and talk with, that's one of their top, goals upon meeting with me. And the reason being is that credit card debt is just debilitating. The interest rate on credit card debt is just ridiculous, in all honesty. Like, it shouldn't be that high.
We're pushing 30%.
Yeah.
And that's with, even my credit cards, I have a great credit score. We pay off our credit cards every month. But even then, like our credit card rates, even though we call, once or twice a year to have those brought down, the industry in itself right now is it's astronomical. So if you are not paying off your credit cards in full every month, the same way your high yield savings account, that compound interest is working for you, well, the compound interest on credit cards is working against you, and you are paying a lot of money every month in interest, right? And that's the fee that you're paying the banks, the lenders, for them to let you borrow money. And if you're not paying that off every month, it's going to be really hard to get out from under that.
Yeah. So first step that you actually need to take is to assess all the credit card debt that you have. How many different credit cards do you have that you are carrying a balance on month to month? You need to know what that balance is and what the interest rate is, and what is your minimum payment that you need to make towards that. That's the first step, so that you have a basis of an understanding of everything that's going on. Now, next, you need to choose a method. Now, when I say choose a method, there's 2 main methods that people apply to paying down credit card debt. You can either focus on paying off the lowest balance first, or you can focus on paying off the balance with the highest interest rate first. I personally am an interest rate person because I'm a math person, but either way is fine. It's which one do you think you are more likely to stick with? All right. So when it comes to paying down the lowest balance, what you're doing is looking at the credit cards you have, and whatever balance is the lowest, any additional money that you could free up is going to be paid towards that credit card. So you are paying at least the minimum on all your other credit cards, but any additional money that you have, so just say you looked through your budget and you found an additional $100. That additional $100 is going to go towards the lowest balance. And you're going to keep paying that on a monthly basis, additional $100, until that credit card is gone. And once you are done with that one, all the money that you were paying to that credit card on a monthly basis is now going to be allocated to the second one, the second lowest balance, and so on until you pay off your credit card debt. Now, the other option is the one with the highest interest rate. So whichever credit card has the highest interest rate, that's the one you're going to focus on first. Any additional money you have is going to go towards paying that off. Once you pay off that credit card, then the amount that you were paying towards that credit card goes towards the next one with the next highest interest rate. All right. So that is, the 2 methods that you could choose from. Make a decision to stick with it. And then I also say automate it. All right. So once you know the minimum amounts that you are going to apply to all your credit cards, and you automate that, and then once you look through your budget and you say you found an additional $100 that you can free up, automate that. So much easier to automate it and have it done rather than going in manually, because especially when you're freeing up the additional money, it can be very easy to find that additional $100 and use it on something that is pointless, when it can be much better used towards paying down credit card debt. Now, a couple other things that I think a lot of people overlook is, one, look at a credit card payoff calculator online. Because the phenomenal thing about those is that you could put in your balance, interest rate, in your current monthly payment, and it'll tell you exactly how long it will take for you to pay it off. Now, once you put that in there, say you add the additional $100, you could put additional $100 in there as far as your payment and see how much shorter the time frame it is to pay off that credit card debt. A lot of people just are paying towards credit card debt and they have no idea when it actually is going to be completed. When you're able to see an end goal, when you know, like, oh, if I pay this amount each month, that in 18 months, I will have that credit card debt down to zero. I think that's a much more motivating factor. I was literally sitting with a client about 2 weeks ago and we were going through their credit card debt. And based off of, how they were currently paying off their credit card, it was going to take like 38 months, I think, 36 months, sorry, to pay off the one credit card that we were looking at. I showed them, if they were to add the additional $150 that they had freed up to that credit card debt, it actually cut it down to about 19 months.
That's huge.
A lot of people don't realize, what's an extra $100? No, extra $100 is huge when it comes to interest rates and paying off principal. Now, one other thing that a lot of people overlook is a 0% balance transfer. If you have a good credit score still and you were able to, you can open up a new credit card and transfer the balance for a small fee. And with transferring that balance to the new card, you could have a 0% interest rate from anywhere from 12 to 18 months. Now, if you combine that with the previous strategies that we just spoke about, that can cut down the time frame significantly to paying off that credit card debt, because now you're paying pure principal and not having to worry about paying interest.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind with the balance transfer is that you're typically going to be paying anywhere from 3 to 5% on the total balance that you bring over. So there is a fee, but again, most of our credit cards have a 22+% interest rate. So even bringing over, let's call it $10,000 at 3 to 5% is going to be significantly less than you paying 22, 27, 29% every single month on a credit card that you are not paying off in full. Mm-hmm. I think one of the big things, and I was a victim of this in my college days, is I was the queen of a balance transfer, but my habits did not change. And so one of the big things that I think is important to call out is, yes, to Brandon's point, you can significantly lower the amount of time in what that payment and payback time period is going to look like when you're, if you have 12 months even of 0% interest. I mean, that's huge, especially most of our credit cards have such high interest rates. So it can significantly cut down the time, but you cannot keep spending the way you were. You cannot keep spending for the same reasons you got into credit card debt. Now, one of the things that I think is important is not everybody has credit card debt because they're just out trying to live lavish, doing $300 brunches, buying bags and shoes. A lot of people, especially in this time period, right, are in credit card debt because maybe they were laid off. Maybe they have huge, medical bills and they didn't know that they don't have to pay them all at once, and you can set up a payment plan for $2 a month, right? Like there are strategies and things that people should be and could be utilizing that they're not, and they're putting balances on their credit cards to stay afloat in this day and age. So, if you have credit card, there's no shame in that, right? Like this is not a guilt. The guilt is not there. Don't guilt yourself. We just need to do better.
Guilt doesn't fix anything either.
It doesn't fix anything. It keeps us down. That's not what this is about. So we understand that not all credit card is there because people were just spending and, being quote unquote irresponsible. But there are strategies to help you get out of credit card debt. And again, if even this conversation feels like it's a little bit over your head, you've never heard of a balance transfer, you don't know how to navigate that, who to, reach out to potentially look at the best cards that are available to you, reach out to Brandon. It will not cost you anything to have a 30-minute conversation with him.
Also, too, a great website, especially when it comes to balance transfers, nerdwallet.com. Mm-hmm. Go there, put in 0% balance transfer in the search, and they'll explain exactly what it is, provide you with, some of the best cards that are, currently good for that option.
And we'll give you like a column by column comparison of
pros
and cons everything. Of different cards that you're looking at. All right. So consolidating and or paying off debt is resolution number 1, because most of us have some sort of debt. Just as a call out, I think there's so much online about being debt free. Just to be very clear and transparent, Brandon and I are not debt free. We've never said that we are debt free because we've never been debt free. And it's also not a goal of ours because we actually believe in leveraging good debt to help you reach your goals. The wealthiest people do that. The wealthiest
I was
people do not, you don't see them on Instagram talking about we're debt free.
I was
No.
debt free at 22.
You were in
At,
2022?
at 22.
Oh, I was like, no, you
As
weren't.
soon as I graduated from college, my mom paid off the remaining balance of my student loans. Shout out to moms. And for that brief period before I did a year of law school, I was
So
debt
18
free.
years ago, Brandon was debt free. Woo! Yeah, it's just I think it's a buzzword, right? And if that's what gives you peace of mind, absolutely. Like it's for sure better to be debt free than to have bad debt, right? I'm doing air quotes for bad debt. But we are not debt free. We do not claim to be debt free. We are not aiming to be debt free. But we are looking to leverage good debt, and credit cards typically are not considered good debt because they have an astronomical interest rate. So,
And also, I don't want to see anybody hop into our comments about good debt, bad debt. You should be debt free. Like, to each their own. If you don't want to have any debt, hey, great.
yeah,
Go ahead and
that's
do
a
it.
mindset thing, right? If that gives you peace of mind, you want to pay off your house, you do you, boo.
That's just not our strategy and what we're going to do.
Right. Let's move on to number 2. What is the next thing that people should focus on as their new year money resolution?
Create a practical budget.
What does
Emphasis
that mean?
on the word practical. I think when people think of a budget, they think of like an Excel spreadsheet with like 50 different items and a specific limitation on how much you could spend in each of those 50 categories.
That's a lot of categories.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, if you like doing that, I'm not knocking it. Like, you are the minority. But, there's a much more practical way to go about, focusing on a budget. And it's very simple. It's the 50-30-20 rule. Now, what that equates to is 50% of your take home income. So, this is what you make after taxes. 50% of your take home income is allocated towards needs. These are things that you cannot live without. You're paying rent, mortgage, food, gas, clothing, whatever that may be. These are going to be normally a lot of your fixed expenses that are carried over from month to month. All right. Now, the next 30% you can allocate towards wants. These are things that you don't need. You don't need them to live, but they're nice to have. Your streaming services, going out to eat, entertainment.
Gym membership.
Honestly, for me, gym membership is a need.
Is a need in the 50% budget.
For me personally.
Yeah.
Because that
Brandon goes 7 days a week.
I have 2 days of
He goes 7 days a week.
active rest days where I just do like slow cardio.
But are you still going to the gym?
Yes, I also go to
So
stretch.
you go to the gym 7 days a week.
I'm a big proponent of stretching.
I said what I said.
Anyways, 30% is allocated towards wants. Some additional clothing, like not the stuff that you need,
Manicures, pedicures,
stuff of that nature.
lashes, makeup, getting my hair done.
Things that you would like to
Whatever's
have.
important to you.
Yeah, things that you would like to have, but are not a necessity. And then the last 20%, that's savings. So that's going to be money that's going to your emergency fund, your 401k plan, 403b, IRA, stuff of that nature. And that's a really easy kind of like broad breakdown. Now, obviously, depending on your specific situation and also where you live in the country, that's going to make a big difference. So, for example, like we're located in North Carolina. Cost of living here is very different than living in New York or California.
Right.
So, that 50% category, maybe 60, 65, depending on where you live.
Yeah.
But it's just to give you an idea of kind of like a broad breakdown of a practical way to set up a budget. Now, as I said, you're focusing on those 3 categories. And so you're not looking at tracking all these little individual things. So like all your necessities, does it equate to 50% of your take home income? If yes, good, great, go ahead. Are you saving 20% of your take home income? Awesome, great, go ahead. So just really a very easy way to track on a budget standpoint.
Yeah. And if you want to save more than 20%, I think that's great. If you can, it's comfortable for you. Maybe you are looking to live a little bit more frugally. You don't have a lot of those wants right now, or maybe you're saving up for something big and you're, maybe not splurging month to month on dinners out or nails or pedicures or whatever it is that's important to you. That's great. If you can increase your savings rate, that's only going to help you reach whatever your financial goals are more quickly. But I think the 50-30-20 rule makes it really easy. The important part, and this is the next resolution in that 20% savings, is automate your savings and pay yourself first. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Well, so number three is prioritizing savings. As a society, Americans are just not good savers in comparison to the rest of the world. And I think it's often overlooked because it's not sexy. Most people want to go ahead and jump to investing when they don't have a proper amount allocated for savings.
Okay.
So, as just said, automating your savings makes it a lot easier and shooting for that 20%. Now, I'm not saying that that's where you have to start off at. So, if you're not saving anything right now, don't shoot for 20% because more than likely it's going to frustrate you because you're probably not going to be able to do that. Start at 5%, 4%, 8%, whatever it may be, go ahead and start. I've sat down with one too many people where they're like, I want to save $500 a month. I'm like, okay, well, looking at your budget, I don't think that's quite it. Well, they're like, well, I'm not going to save anything until I can save 500. I'm like, can you save 300, 200, 100? All that's
Something is better
something
than
is better than
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah, it should not be oh, I can't invest $1,000 a month, so I'm not going to invest 100. We all know that in investing and building your wealth, time is the most important factor. So starting small and putting something away, right? $20 a month is better than $0 a month. $10 a month is better than $0 a month. Just because you can't do 500 doesn't mean you should be doing nothing.
Yeah. And an emphasis too on where you're putting these savings. So, if you're specifically looking from a savings standpoint of emergency fund, it needs to be in a high yield savings account. Most high yield savings accounts are getting around probably like 4.3% right now in comparison to your traditional savings accounts at brick and mortar banks are getting like 0.01, 0.02.
If you use our link to Wealthfront on our social media, and we can link it in the show notes as well, we are currently getting 5.5%. And if you use our link, it's not an affiliate link, it's just a referral link. So we don't get paid off of this or anything. We actually have our emergency fund in our Wealthfront account right now. We're getting 5.5%. If you use our link, you'll get 5.5% as well for an additional 3 months. And then if you use your link to share with your family and friends, that additional 0.5% is going to extend for another 3 months every time somebody uses that link. So why would you not have your money working for you and making money by opening up a quick account versus it just sitting at your regular bank where you're literally earning like zero interest? It's not doing anything for you there.
And that's kind of leads into number four because we were saying starting an emergency fund. So there's an emphasis because it's a two-part process. It's an emphasis on saving, setting up a method to save, and then actively saving towards the emergency fund and where you're going to put it. So with the emergency fund, you're looking at anywhere on average from 6 to 12 months worth of expenses. Not of salary, of expenses. All right. And that can vary depending on, are you single? Are you, a couple? And you have a family? What industry do you work in? And by that, I mean, what is the likelihood of you being laid off? And if you are laid off, what is the likelihood of you, finding work again? So, for example, like if you work in the IT field, getting laid off might not be as high. And also if you did, you might be able to find a job much quicker. But if you're self-employed, you might want to lean more towards the 12 months because, if your business not working, it could be some time.
Also, 6 to 12 months feels very daunting. That's a lot of time, probably a lot of money. So if you don't have an emergency fund right now, start with 1 month, start with a week, right? What do you spend a week on groceries? What is it going to cost you to keep your heat on in the winter, right? Like start small instead of looking at a huge number and saying, oh my gosh, I have to save $60,000. How am I ever going to do that? Well, start with $100 at a time. Start with $75 at a time. Start by prioritizing putting money away, paying yourself first, right, in savings, and put that money into a high yield savings account because emergencies are going to happen. We, in the last couple of months, have spent over $3,500 on Brandon's car. We're literally trying to drive it until the wheels fall off. And it was unexpected, right? We needed a new catalytic converter. We needed new brakes. We needed spark plugs. We needed all these things that we were not expecting. And we needed to take that money out of our emergency fund to cover the cost. It's not just money that we had laying around in, our checking accounts. So having a backup plan, right? I mean, things happen all the time. Cars, home repairs, something happens with your pet. They ate a crazy something that they weren't supposed to. I mean, it happens. So have that emergency fund and pay yourself first and put it into a high yield savings. All right, we're going to keep this episode under 40 minutes because that's what we promised for 2024. What's the last thing?
Last one is boost your retirement savings. Whether it's a 401k plan, 403b, self-employed, maybe a SEP IRA, or just a traditional IRA. Try to increase the amount that you are contributing to those accounts. So for my individuals out there that have 401k plans through their employer, bare minimum, you should be hopefully doing the employer match. Reason being is that that's free money. So for example, if your employer has a match of, say 5% at 100%, that means at the first 5% of your income that you're contributing, they're going to match that dollar for dollar.
That's a lot of money.
And it's free. It's free money.
Well, I'm going to battle you on that. It's not free money. It's part of your total compensation. Your employer is planning on you using those benefits. So they are accounting for that as part of your salary. Now, whether you want to look at it like that or not, or you want to call it free money, you'd be silly not to get your employee match. So to Brandon's earlier point, get your match. Bare minimum, get your match. If it's 3%, put in 3%. If it's 5%, put in 5%. It makes a difference. I have over $50,000 in my 401k, and I just do my company match, and I've been there for right over 2 years. I mean, that's a lot of money in 2 years.
Yeah, and the big thing is that also with the increasing your retirement savings, just understanding how your plan works and how you can maximize it.
That's something else Brandon can help you with if you don't know.
Yeah, so it's whether or not like the breakdown of what is the pros to contributing traditional, with pre-tax money. What are the pros contributing Roth money? What is the difference between Roth and after-tax money? Because there is a difference between the two. They are not the same. So really understanding how your plan works and being able to formulate a plan that is specific to your situation, what you're trying to achieve, to take full advantage of your retirement plan through your employer.
Yeah. And just one quick call out. By getting your company match with your employer, most people just sign up for their match and they don't do anything else. But there are ways to maximize your 401k plan and account so that you are getting the most out of it. So again, there's like a generic, yep, this is what I want to contribute button. And then most people turn around and walk away. But there are ways to make sure that you are maximizing your contributions to your 401k. Again, that is something Brandon can help you with.
And that's it.
All right.
Those are the top 5.
I feel like we said a lot. So we're going to recap. We are starting a YouTube channel. Stay tuned. It's going to be super exciting. You're going to get to see our faces and our guests' faces and their interactions and our dialogue and our conversations and our laughter and our joy and all of the goodness that comes with seeing people. So stay tuned, then definitely subscribe. Get excited about it. We've got a lot of awesome guests. We're going to be releasing 3 episodes a month instead of 2, so you get more of us. And we're going to shoot for shorter episodes, so more targeted, very specific financial episodes. Please share them with your friends, with your family. Make sure that you rate, review, subscribe, all the things. It really helps us get found on Apple and on Spotify. That's really, really important. It's free. It'll take you less than 30 seconds to do. So please give a rating and leave a written review. And are your top 5 New Year's finance resolutions: consolidate your debt, create a practical budget, prioritize saving money, start an emergency fund and put that fund into a high yield savings account, and boost your retirement savings. We will see you soon. Thank you for being with us. Share this episode with a friend. Happy New Year.